No.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Zero Interest. This time we're doing Mob Psycho 100, Episode 6, Discord, to become one. So, Casey, why don't you start us off?
I don't remember how this episode started.
Okay, it starts with a flashback between Ritsu and his brother Mob, and Mob's making a psychic bubble of water float in the air, and it's kind of a war memory, and Ritsu's like, hey, do you think I'll be able to do this too, brother? And he's like, yeah, I'm sure you will.
Sure, we're brothers. That makes sense. Genetics and such. That's apparently not how psychic powers work. Or does it? But yeah, flash
Mhm.
forward to the present, and he's trying to do the same thing with tap water and doing various psychic poses while doing so, and it
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah, and he's just getting frustrated more and more.
Mm. Intro. Then,
Seance. The
right.
seance scene.
I mean, yeah, okay, sure. Um, has some fun with English there a little bit, kind of, sort of. I mean, it's funny. We can just move on. It doesn't really actually accomplish anything.
Yeah, Reagan does the get a job, you bum punch.
Mm,
Because the one guy is trying to figure out the password to his father's hidden safe, but his father's dead, so they must do a set. It's just a funny Reagan aside,
it
but then
is.
it leads in. But then
Also,
it leads
fair
in.
play for the guy that, it's safe and no one knows the combination, so
Yeah,
it's wasted just sitting there. Just saying. Um,
and then
Mob
he punches.
asks about,
Yeah,
yeah, that happens.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
Mob asks about self-defense, using his psychic powers for self-defense, because that's what Reagan just did, kind of, because the guy had a knife to his throat.
Hmm.
And Mob asks, so if someone attacks you, would it be okay to shave the guy's head and strip off his clothing and humiliate him in front of all of his friends so he loses them and maybe destroy a building or two? Is that,
And then destroy his school.
yeah, is that okay? And Meg's like, that's a lot of stuff to just do in self-defense.
And Mob's like, I don't want my powers because when I go unconscious, I do things, I hurt people. I
Yeah.
don't want this.
And then when you're conscious, you also help a lot of people and deal with a lot of spirits, and you can't just focus on all the negatives.
Yeah,
I would complain about you trying to run away with the summary again, but I've forgotten what happens next. So, feel free.
yeah. So after Reagan kind of tries to cheer Mob up, we cut over to. Oh yeah. The he is being interviewed by journalism girl who's like trying to find out what happened at the.
Right, and she's like, it was totally you, right? It had to be you, and also there were reports of another guy that can just kick the crap out of anyone. So he's also like you, and you guys fought, right? That's totally what
Yeah,
happened?
two Espers fighting, and that's totally what happened.
Mm.
She's like,
Alright, fine, whatever, and she leaves. But I'll find out, or something. It's, yeah. It's basically just a way for what's her name, who barely matters in this story so far, to be like, "Oh shit, you found another Esper," and
yeah,
he's like,
Tomei.
"Yeah, sure, whatever. No one actually cares."
She's like, okay, we can go out. We'll go out on a date together, and we'll go looking for Espers, and then we can finally connect to aliens. And he's just like, I'm not in the telepathy club, but she
They do it anyway for reasons, I guess.
she says the word date, so Maud feels inclined to go.
Um, then
Uh,
I think we get the delinquents, and they're like, "Hey, that guy was like a shadow leader of the delinquents in Vinegar, so we should have our own shadow leader because someone from that fitness club totally beat the crap out of everyone at Vinegar, so we need to get our own and have him be our shadow leader.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they approach the fitness club guy, and he's like, "No, I wasn't involved. I just kind of stayed out of it." And also, the guy that did do all that stuff, he doesn't really like violence or anything like that, so he's really not interested.
Hmm.
But if you want to work out, we can fucking work out, sure. Because they're cool
Yeah.
like that.
Yep. Uh, After that, there's an encounter on the
Student
staircase,
council.
I
Oh
believe.
yeah, it's the delinquents, and they're like, "Hey, sorry for getting you mixed up in all that crap, mob." I don't. I'm not going to use his proper name. Who cares?
Yeah.
Sorry to get you mixed up in that. It was kind of shitty of us. Um, it won't happen again. And one of his underlings is like, "Yeah, this guy's kind of a moron, but don't sweat too much about it." And punches him, and
It's like, shut up! I'm trying to talk to him.
yeah,
And
baby brother
yeah.
overhears this and thinks they're giving mob crap. And then we get a student council meeting, and baby brother's like, "Hey, we should do something about the delinquents."
Mhm.
And student council president is kind of creepy looking, but there's a reason for it that we get later.
Yeah.
So after that, I think it's baby
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah. He's walking home,
Yeah. Okay.
and he's like, I gotta make it a comfortable environment. I'm just helping with transitions from scenes to help you out, so you don't get lost. Okay?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Baby brother's going home, and he gets accosted by a, let's say, psychic enthusiast who invites him to join a research project that are looking into psychics, confusing baby brother with mob. He's like, doesn't. He just kind of holds onto the thing.
Mhm.
And I forget what's next.
Um. Gosh,
What
I
comes
can't.
directly next?
Oh! Doesn't he encounters the vice president as he's walking home from school, who's like, you, despite all your talents and everything, you always take the minor role. Stop trying to be like your brother.
Like, it's supposed to be like a "you're wasting your potential" kind of thing, and it doesn't come off like that.
Yeah, especially not with everything that's going on with Ritsu and the.
So, yeah, that kind of encourages him to just go to the psychic research thing, which he does. But I think that comes a little bit later.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Mob and Tomei are looking for people for espers. They see a crazy guy with crazy hair.
Looks like a leaf in autumn. It's pretty cool hair.
It's like, that's kind of fun.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. Then we go back to Big Brother, and he's going to the research center, which looks just like an apartment building, but gets reassured, no, this is a legit thing, and it goes inside, and it's a legit thing. Meets all the psychic cadets, basically, and they're basically all cut rate versions of Mob. And when I say cut rate, I mean all of the effort in the world to bend a spoon, which Mob does casually at dinner without even meaning to.
Yeah.
Like, all of it legit psychic stuff, except maybe the card
Pyrokinesis.
The card choosing thing is a little.
You have a 62% accuracy when it comes to predicting the future.
I mean, it depends on how many of those cards were the right ones. Like, if it's 50-50 and she gets 62%, that's, margin of error. But if it's
It
like
was 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10 and she gets 62% right, that's actually pretty legit.
Yeah, they said it was 1 out of 10.
Yeah. So,
So
it's not amazing, but it's... Actually, if Mob is not in the equation, it is actually kind of amazing.
yeah, like
It's just we're kind of spoiled with Mob and whatever his name was. Terror or whatever it was.
yeah, you have the one guy who can do the pyrokinesis, but he can only get a little flame,
Oop, in the camera.
and it goes out. It goes out, and then it's like, yeah, no, you could get a lighter that could do a much better job than that. And then you have the two guys. You have the two guys who can telepathically communicate with each other,
Hmm.
uh, and to which is like email exists.
Yeah, but he's looking at the practicality of it because he's spoiled because he knows Mob, and Mob who can do
Yeah.
pretty much anything. But for just regular people that aren't entirely convinced that, espers and psychics and pyrokinetics and all this stuff actually exist, this is legit stuff.
Hmm.
And yeah, it shows it's proof of concept for the potential for real psychic powers.
Yeah.
But, Baby Brother's kind of spoiled in that sense
Hmm.
a little bit.
Because he wants to be like Mob, not like these people.
Yeah. So, uh, I think the next day, the morning happens, and the student council are there early. Presumably, they usually are because there's student council and they do meetings and such.
Before that,
Okay.
we cut back to Mob and Tomei, and there is Mob detects that there is an adult Esper
Hmm.
in a purple coat who's giving off this very sinister aura.
And he doesn't tell her, and she points out
Yeah.
another dude with cool hair.
Keep that character in mind because
Okay.
they will be relevant. The oh,
So, plan is hatched. Between no, not yet. We actually still have the president's home situation, which yeah, entirely justifies the way he looks and the way he. Well, it doesn't justify the way he acts, but gives a reason for it.
yeah,
So yeah, he is basically in the same situation as Baby Brother of Mob, kind of, but in a different way, I suppose. Just constantly trying to live up to the other one, and utterly failing to do so.
yeah.
And he gets shit on for it every time he goes home, presumably, and lives in trash for some reason. Not entirely clear on that.
His
But
room's just filled with trash, presumably because he doesn't want to actually leave his room to get rid of the trash. So,
so yeah,
mm,
next day comes and they're at school, and before classes, the vice president outlines the president outlines his plan to Baby Brother of, hey, so we're going to take the mouthpieces for all of the girls' recorders and put them in the lead delinquent's desk,
yep,
which is a really creepy plan and kind of fucked up.
yep,
That being said, for Japan, it's less fucked up because I'm not entirely sure they even have a sex offender registry or anything like that, but that would totally get you on one in Britain or probably America. I don't actually know. But yeah,
I don't know. It's really messed up.
yep.
Um, and you can kind of see why the president wants to show that he's an exemplary president, and he wants to show that he's really cleaning up the school and doing something. But at the same time, this is really low, and he's trying to get Ritsu to get in on it.
I don't think it actually shows him being an exemplary president. I think this shows him happening to find a problem that he didn't know existed before. Lucky him for finding the problem. Lucky everyone else for
Yeah.
realizing that there was a problem. But he's not actually doing anything to solve it, really.
As said
A
before,
situation came up and he stepped in to maybe do something about it and find out what was going on. But that's his job
Yeah.
anyway. It's him being a regular student council president and making another guy look like a dickhead. That's it.
he's not smart. This was established by his family. Oh, no. He's just trying to do something, and it's really bad.
Also, this is a little bit of a button for me. Because if there is one thing that I really have a problem with in terms of wrongdoing, it's frame jobs and just false
Yeah.
accusations. They really fucking bother me. I don't know why, because I've not actually been a victim of anything like that. And I don't think I've actually seen it happen all that often in my day-to-day. but it really fucking bothers me. So,
Hmm.
yeah, like it undermines the entire concept of justice is framing someone for something they didn't do. Especially
It
someone in authority framing someone for something they didn't do. It's an incredible abuse of power, and it really fucking gets on my yeah.
and Ritz is like, but you're an elite. You really to stoop to this, and President's like, yeah. Have you ever gotten praise you don't feel like you actually deserve? You're like me, aren't you? To which,
Yeah, we also got another scene. I forgot. We also got another scene at dinner with. It was basically the same scene at dinner of Mob
yeah,
fucking up the spoon and you should be more like your brother and such.
yeah. And Mom's like, yeah, my brother's the best. And we start to see that, like, every time they say something like that or they praise him, he's not living up to his own standards. And so the fact that he's getting praised despite that is just breaking him.
So he goes along with it. Uh, delinquent. Everyone shows up to class and they're freaking out. The delinquent shows up last, but just barely manages to get there on time, which, surprisingly enough, for a delinquent, he has a perfect attendance record and never late. Um,
Yeah.
but he shows up after going running with the fitness club, which, cool dude.
Hmm.
Personal improvement. Good job. Um, he's like, what the hell's going on? And, like, search his desk. And inside his desk are all of the mouthpieces of the recorder's instrument. I didn't clarify, but yeah, instrument,
Yeah.
mouthpieces. And immediately everyone turns on him. He's like, what the? I didn't fucking do. If I was going to do something stupid like that, then I would just fucking take him home if I was going to be that creepy. And,
And then they open his bag
yep,
and they shoved him in there too. So,
yeah. And then he gets increasingly pissed off that, understandably, because they're totally framing him up for this, and goes on a bit of a rage, and that only makes things worse. And he looks to the crowd for his childhood friend who said, childhood promise, etc. trope. And she is looking at him in the exact same way and calls him gross.
mhm.
And that pretty much does it. And then
It's pretty
gets
awful.
he gets kicked through a door, so he's outside of the classroom when class starts, and loses his perfect attendance record, which seems kind of minor in comparison, but this is Japan, so
Hmm.
bothered me. But next we go back to the lab, where things flickering for some reason. I really wish it would stop because it's really distracting. We go to the lab, and
Yeah.
baby brother is trying to bend a spoon, and it's like, don't worry about it. Everyone has a bad day. And he's like,
Yeah.
what am I even doing?
Yeah. He just is now the guilt's starting to really get to him.
Yeah.
And so then he throws the spoon away.
And leaves, and like, yeah, he's fucking worthless, right? And the head guy is like, I wouldn't be so sure, and the spoon is actually just pretzeled, like proper, completely crazy straw pretzeled.
Yeah.
So
And
there's a
as
little
he
something
could,
there.
yeah, there's some power there. Uh, he goes home, and outside is the living dead spirit of Dimple.
Not quite. He actually runs across Reagan, who is like,
Oh
hey,
yeah,
you should, there's mob around, I have to do an exorcism. And he's like, aren't you a psychic? You fucking deal with it. And then he runs across, hey, look, it's a little green blob. That's not a balloon. What is, and turns his face, and was it Bob?
Dimple.
I'm just going to call him Bob, because he reminds me
Dimple.
of Bob the Skull from Dresden Files. So,
Okay, sure.
It's kind
You
of the
do
same
that.
character, I'm not gonna lie. Like, knows a lot about stuff and is kind of a freaky pervert and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of the same. Um, yeah, so it's a good episode. I hate it. Oh, this presses so many of my fucking buttons. You have no idea. Oh
I believe
god.
last time after we recorded, it was like the next one's a transition episode.
Hmm.
Boy, is it a transition episode. There's a lot of things that happen in this episode that's just kind of it's the start of Ritsu starting to do some bad things. It's his fall, kind of. We don't get much on the president, but the stuff that we do get is just strangely enough very real. And the stuff with Ritsu of like his standards are very different from everybody else's, and he doesn't feel like he's anything as long as he doesn't have those psychic powers. So, despite everything he already has. Also, Reagan is hilarious. And
It's nice to be angry because an episode was so effective. That's a nice change of pace, kind of. I'm still furious, but it's a nice change of pace.
Also, Dimple lived through that last exchange with Teru, because Dimple is notoriously hard to kill. He's kind of like Cell. As long as one bit of him remains, he can always come back.
Okay, so that was the episode.
Yeah. Do you like that? That make you very upset.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. We'll see you next time with Mob Psycho episode 7. Sorry, we were on 6. We're next to 7. Yeah.